Okay, let's do it here. Saturday, May 28th. So a roundup from yesterday. Well, cool out. Well, most places, but certainly cool to the west. Inuvik was 8 only, and high RHs there. There's some lower RHs in the valley, actually, around Norman, 14 and 33 RH there. Fort Simpson, up to yesterday, had only a millimeter, and 13 there for a high. Not so today, 55% RH. Fort Liard got to 10 and 77 RH. There was some dry air in around North Slave. Yellowknife was 18. I got it there. Yeah, Yellowknife was 18. No rain reported. 32% RH. But some other areas like Wati was at 16, 26%. And Francois Lake got down to 23% RH. So, you know, some pretty dry air up in the North Slave part. Fort Smith was 13, had a little bit of sprinkle at yesterday evening or whatever, and about 59% RH. Forgot to put Letzel K on. Hay River was 12 there and had about 4.5 millimeters of rain, and 57% RH. And other areas a little bit drier. Fort Providence, 42% RH. And around Fort Chip, well, Fort Chip was 16, 53% RH, but Garden River did get some precip, a little bit, 4 mils there. So we'll go on to the lightning map. Let it come up. Okay, what did we have? We had a few sparks in around in the Decho a little bit there. You're saying the fire area maybe around Fort Providence. Don't see any lightning strikes or anything you were mentioning. There weren't any there, so I don't know if that could have caused it. Most of the lightning was confined down south of the border, actually, you know, towards southern Wood Buffalo or so. Looking at 500 millibars, there's not too much to really grab onto here. That's all that exciting. Big low off the coast of BC, and then the Arctic vortex that's hanging up there. So, you know, it's creating a good flow across, well, across parts of the NWT. There's this big ridge that's up over Alaska, over 570 thicknesses there, but not really coming into play for us right now. So we'll go on to the surface pattern, and what we've had is this really tight little low. Forgot to put the L on there. It's about 1,008. That's just sitting in northern Alberta, and geez, it's just not moving anywhere very fast at all. So it just hangs around there through today and through tomorrow, and it just keeps creating this real tight gradient across the Slave areas and Decho and into Liard for sure. So, you know, real strong winds gusting up into the 40s, 50s, 60s in a lot of places. So that's the feature that's going to just keep going for today, and not a whole lot of movement over with it for the next couple of days. Satellite picture here is the next one. A lot of cloud, you know, in around the low across Decho, North Slave. Most of the clearing skies into, well, eastern Smith and southern Caribou zones where the RHs are dropped around into the 30s there. But other areas pretty cloudy and getting some showers, rain mixed in with that stuff, with the clouds. So onto the Prague tonight, this evening. Go down to the surface. It's more interesting. And you see that low, it's still hanging around just about where it was this morning and not moving very much, still that real strong gradient around it. So windy across those areas, Slave zones, and through Decho, most of that, and certainly into Liard. Some of the higher ground there, boy, there's some strong winds aloft, you know, 60 kilometers or so. So some of the higher ground could sure see some good gusty winds there. As far as precip with it, go onto this panel, it looks like most of it sort of gangs up into the southwest Decho, but there's a band of it streaming across North Slave as well. So, you know, know, in that kind of, you can get up to 10 millimeters in some of that, especially in the southwest Decho, Liard area there. So. Okay, my prog for this evening, or 6 p.m., we got that low hanging around there, and the good strong winds around it, so go through some of these here into Wood Buffalo, kind of an easterly or east-southeast wind, 20 gusting 40, lots of gusting 40s around, and in the western parts where there's some cloud cover, about 15 and 50%. You get into that eastern parts where I showed you there was some clearing, you get the RHs down into the 30s, 35% there. Likewise in Smith, southeast winds, 20 gusting to 35 or so, and around 20 in the clearing areas to the east and 30% RHs. Into Caribou, easterly winds, 25 gusting 45, kind of the same idea here, and 20 or so in some of the clearer skies, 20% RHs it could get down to into some of that clear areas, more into the 30s when you go up into that cloud cover for the RHs. Up into North Slave, well, holy heck, that's pretty strong winds. Northeast, 40 gusting 50. Today, about 12 for a high and some showers, 45% RHs, and pretty much similar conditions. You go into most of Decho, 20 to 30 gusting 45, and maybe 11 in showers for a high today. Similar for Hay, gusting up to about 45 there as well. The big strongest winds seem to be sort of the southwestern Decho and into Liard. 30, northeast 30 could be gusting up to as high as 60, especially over some of the higher ground, and only about 8 for a high there. More rainy into a Liard area, might be some more like just steady rain, like I said, maybe 10 or so millimeters there. There is an unstable air mass a bit more in sort of this kind of warm sector with the fronts, and that goes up through Wood Buffalo, can get a chance of a thunder shower, and then maybe edging its way into the Hay River area as well through this afternoon. Up into Sahtu, a lot calmer for winds, only sort of variable, 10 gusting 20. They're sort of near this ridge that's poking in down through the valley. Pretty cool, 12 for a high there. Cool up into Inuvik, 7 or so for a high there, and northeasterly winds, 15 gusting to 25 or so. So let's go on to Sunday. Let this prog ring up. And you can still see at the surface that low there, it just hangs in there around the border. And much the same pattern as today with the strong winds around it. Not a whole lot has really changed. Maybe the rain, if you go onto this panel, precip panel, is sort of mostly migrated into Decho, and they're indicating some areas could be up as much as 20 millimeters through tomorrow, so it could very well be. A lot of the precip is kind of cleared out of the North Slave except for the very north part, so a little drier there than today. So looking at the prog for this evening, or tomorrow evening, Sunday evening. Like I said, that low hanging in there around the border and hasn't moved very much, creating the good strong gradient around it. Southerly winds at Wood Buffalo, 20 gusting 30. And they're getting some thunder showers still. They're still a bit unstable around this cold front that I got hanging down from it. That cold front's becoming quite a sort of a weak feature, but it might generate the odd thunder shower into Wood Buffalo, around 20 for a high, 40% RH is there. Into Smith, a little bit more into the drier air, still southeast, 20 gusting 30, but maybe get up into around 23 into the clear parts, 30% RHs or so. And Caribou, likewise, kind of an easterly wind there, 30 gusting 40, getting down into the 20s in the RHs, 25% maybe, into a lot of Caribou. North Slave, still gusting 30, gusting 50 still, and 15 or so for a high, showery and around there, but maybe not quite as much for some rain. That's kind of like you saw moving its way off more towards the Decho area, or at least the western parts of the North Slave region. Into Hay, and if we got easterly winds, sort of, maybe they might be a tad north of east, and 20 gusting 30 and 13 or so for a high there. Strong winds persisting into most of Decho, 30 gusting 40 around Simpson. High at only about 5. So if you get some of those showers, you saw that precip there. You get some of the higher ground, it's not far from 0 there, so they very easily get some snow over the higher elevations through a lot of the Decho area. And similar for Liard, northerly winds 20 gusting 40, about only 5 for a high there. So, snow is certainly a possibility mixed in with that stuff there overnight, that's for sure, like Monday or tonight into Sunday, or Sunday night into Monday. And up into Sawtoo, easterly winds, lighter wind regime, 15 gusting 25, maybe 10 for a high. And easterly, maybe 10 gusting to 20 in Inuvik, a lot lighter winds there. So strong winds for the next couple days, and rain, varying amounts around that low. A little further afield into Monday, well, that low starts weakening quite a bit. So I hope I'm at the surface map here. As it edges its way into sort of the Smith region, or just north of Wood Buffalo there along the border. But it's weakening out quite a bit. The gradient's getting a lot lighter, but it's still pretty brisk, so it hasn't given up yet. Still a northerly winds through Decho, and kind of easterly winds, brisk easterly winds north of Slave Lake. But certainly the trend is that the winds are getting a lot lighter, but still pretty darn cool. Gosh, it's kind of a Arctic-y kind of air mass over certainly through Sawtoo and Decho and that. So unseasonably cool, not much more than, into the single digits for certainly through Decho. So again, if you get some precip, like we look at this precip panel down here on the bottom corner left, there is indicating some stuff, mostly probably over the mountains, but some of that could be snow. So there you go again. And into Tuesday, well, the pattern's getting a whole lot lighter and weaker. So you look around Slave Lake, and it pretty much lost that low now. It just kind of dissolves away. The gradient lightens up considerably, so a lot lighter winds, maybe still staying brisk across Caribou and the eastern part of North Slave. But the rest of it is getting into a pretty slack gradient. So a lot different wind regime, that's for sure, than over the weekend. There is this upper feature. I'll go up to the 500 chart here. This low or trough, whichever you want to call it, that moves across kind of Decho or into South Slave there, and it could be unstable enough to give some thunder showers. It's pretty cool into Decho, but maybe into the eastern part of Decho and South Slave, it might give the odd thunder shower that can cook up there with that thing. But certainly a lot different flow, a lot lighter flow. And then let's go to Wednesday. I think the big changes actually start happening Wednesday. At the surface, we'll go there for its pretty slack pattern. And, the gradient's certainly not like it was. But the things to note is there that 500 millibars, you see there's this upper ridge that's starting to build in from the south. So first time we've seen that for a little while. So a lot warmer, trending towards midweek, and then certainly, go further by the end of the week with that upper ridge building. So much more seasonable temperatures coming into the southern NWT, and then gee whiz, by further afield towards the end of the week, even getting highs up into the upper 20s and not too far off of 30. So Some good changes coming towards the middle to the end of the week as far as warmer weather, but then with the warmer weather you get the drier conditions too, so RH is going down into the southern areas steadily throughout midweek, probably getting down into the low 30s or maybe into the 20s by after midweek. So I'll stop it there, and any questions?
No, Max, nothing here. Anything from the regions? Okay.
Okay, we're all happy. We'll talk to you tomorrow then.
Yeah, just a duty officer call at